Hey there. Today, I wanted to talk with you about how spirit and the universe is guiding you in your life, how to recognize those signs and symbols, and how your thoughts and your feelings also help create in help create that which you're trying to attract into your life or that which you are trying to actually experience, create, so on and so forth. So, uh, excuse me if I've been battling the flu for about a week, so if I seem a little off, that might be why. So one of the first things that I wanted to let you know, and you may already know this, is that how you feel trumps how you think, because any of you that have studied the law of attraction, maybe you followed something like Abraham Hicks, how you feel is so important, and it's so important that it matches your thoughts. So your feelings about yourself, about your purpose, about your gifts, it's so important, even though we can have dips in our belief in ourselves and our path, to really stay mindful to that, to stay hopeful, to stay in belief, to stay in inspiration as much as we can, because we're energetic beings. We have a vibration. What does that mean? Well, our vibration is our unseen energy, which includes our thoughts and our feelings. And so many years ago, many years ago, probably like, I don't know, 18, 20 years ago, I started reading things like Law of Attraction, the Seth books, other channeled materials, and spiritual teachings. And a commonality I found was how our thoughts and our feelings are really directly connected to what we create, what we attract, and what we begin to see manifest in our world and in our life. So that's really key for you to understand about how it's not just what you think, but it's what you feel. I'm going to give you a personal story for myself. So I'm going to be really honest here. This month, even though I haven't been sick for probably at least 2 years, not a cold, nothing, over 2 years probably. This month, I have been sick for over 2.5 weeks. And it's given me a lot of time to reflect on, well, why has this happened? What do I need to learn from this? And there have been two things that really have been pretty obvious to me. One, I've been overdoing it when I should be resting. I've been doing a lot in my personal life that has kept me a little too busy. And two, I started to have some concerns, doubts, worries about things that I wanted to do in my career, my work life. And those thoughts and that kind of dip in my feelings, I think kind of created this mix of, not that this is the reason why, I'm not trying to say that you attract illness or disease or something like, but that in my case, I could definitely feel that dip in my vibration or my energy. And it was time for me to go, okay, I need to pause here. I need to take better care of myself. And I need to really listen to my own inner wisdom and not the mind, the ego that keeps you running and going. Now, here's another example though, because I also don't believe that you have to be in perfect health or always, saying your affirmations, praying all the time, reading your spiritual books, meditating. You don't have to be perfect at this. We still are getting guidance. The universe is trying to guide us all the time. And what happened is, a few days ago, a spiritual teacher and a well-known intuitive who helped get me on this path through her books came to me in my dream. And she's appeared in my dreams several times in the about 20 years since I discovered her work. And what happened is that in this dream, I was in a workshop with other people with her, and she looked at me and she said, and I was just basically saying, I'm having some challenges. It's not easy to keep on this path to do this, blah, blah, blah. And she looked right at me and she said, you're almost there. Now, what does this mean? This is a sign I take from, whether you want to call it my higher self, my soul, the divine spirit, whatever. But this was a direct, obvious message to me Stay on your path, stick with it, don't give up, okay? So I really want to stress, even though our thoughts and our feelings create, and our thoughts and our feelings help attract, or what we might call manifest, we don't have to be, perfectly always doing these things to raise our vibration. Do we need to be doing it consistently? Yes, I do believe that helps. But I don't think the universe or spirit steps away just because we're struggling or we're in doubt or fear or worry, or we have challenges in your life. I've had some challenges with some family, some personal family stuff I've had to deal with the last year and a half. And it's really, at times, kind of rocked me and made me really go, ooh, I've really got to practice this stuff. But this is what I want you to know. Even if you're going through a challenge now or have gone through a challenge, your spirit team, the universe, the divine, is still with you and still guiding you. And so that's one of the things I also wanted to talk about with you today. Okay, the number one thing I want to help you become aware of is notice how you feel. Okay, I was slipping, I'll admit it. I wasn't always paying attention to my feelings and my thoughts. They were kind of there. I kind of noticed my energy dipping. Was I really as consistently listening to my higher self as much as to my worries and doubts at times? No. And that's really important, to notice and listen to how we feel. Okay, I talk about that a lot. Why do I talk about these things in these lives? Because I'm teaching you the things I have to learn and have had to learn. Also, what's really important about noticing how you feel in terms of looking for or understanding the signs and the symbols and the guidance from the divine spirit is I notice that if something kind of pings me, or I feel it in my gut, in my heart, or I'm just kind of, then I follow that. So let's say, some common signs people might have are like butterflies, birds, coins, feathers, those types of things. But let's say it's something you're not sure about, but you think, gosh, I think that might be a sign. So what I would notice is how you feel. If you're drawn to it, you're attracted, it makes you wonder, you're curious, it's very likely some kind of sign. So notice how you feel. Those things that we don't notice so much, one, we're not paying attention, and two, that it may not necessarily be a direct sign always. But I know when it's meant to be a sign, there's going to be a way that we feel inside, like, what was that? So for instance, the other day, within it had to be less than a minute, maybe even 30 seconds, I was out in my backyard, and within that period of time, a bumblebee flew by me, a dragonfly, a ladybug, and a butterfly, all with kind of in my little vicinity of my body. I thought, that's interesting. I think there's some message here. So kind of notice those things. Okay. Number two, if you don't know, that's what's so great about the internet. Begin to Google, look it up, look in a book, whatever. It doesn't have to be that literal interpretation, but kind of let some of it sink in and go, does this relate to me? Does this relate to something going on in my life? Because if it does, I'm telling you, it's a sign, it's guidance. So write that down if you find that it's pertinent or relevant, okay? And reflect on those different interpretations and then those different meanings that you read about or look up. Now, why would spirit, or my spirit team, okay? But spirit team, I'm talking about your guides, your angels, your own soul, higher self, loved ones on the other side, your spirit teachers, that's kind of all of that. Why would spirit or the universe be communicating with us through signs and symbols? Can't we just look and see a sign, or just happen to read something? Well, I think once in a blue moon, we may have those experiences. But I read many years ago in one of my channel books that the reason our guides communicate with us in symbols is that symbols have so many more layers of meaning than our language does. And I thought how true that is. Because I happened to, as an undergrad, I was an English major and an art major. And I loved interpreting symbols, whether it was in literature or symbols in art. And was an art history major, and I just was fascinated by that. Never knowing that in my job that I would eventually have, like the job I have now, requires me to, on a regular basis, interpret signs, symbols, and messages from spirit. So that symbol of that butterfly, that bird, the color, you know, those flowers, that song, open up and begin to open your mind and your intuition to the greater meanings and the layers of meaning that might be there in those signs and symbols. So, you know, a lot of you know about butterflies. A butterfly could be a sign from a loved one. It could also be a sign of transformation or change. I happened to look up ladybug. I had no idea that ladybug was considered a sign of good fortune or good things to come. But if you look up these signs and symbols, you'll see that there's a lot of multiple layers of meaning. So when you're thinking about or reflecting on the signs and symbols in your life, really take into consideration that spirit is giving you a symbol for a reason, because there's much more to it than just the literal thing or image or whatever that you're seeing, okay? So the third thing I want to talk about, the third tip to help you understand how spirit is guiding you, is through your dreams, your actual nighttime dreams. So I began keeping a dream journal maybe roughly about 20 years ago. And then I took a dream class by a professor who'd written a book, was well known for being kind of an expert in dream symbology. And I began to pay attention to the signs and symbols in my dreams. And one piece of advice that he gave all of us, and I began to follow it and have found it be so true over 20 years, was if you keep track of your dreams on a consistent basis, and again, we're talking about your nighttime dreams that you have, you'll begin to see pattern and repetition to the signs and symbols, and you can begin to develop your own kind of dream language that's unique to you, that's coming from spirit. So like I said, I've noticed that's true. I've had so many of my teachers that have appeared in my dreams over the years, either giving me advice, encouraging me on. I've had people in my everyday life or from my past reoccur, and I know they're dream symbols to me. And then I'll reflect a little bit deeper, like what traits or characteristics does this person have that I either admire, or maybe there's something I don't even really like. But what is it? What is spirit trying to tell me by these people showing up in my dream over and over again? There might be colors that are symbolic. You know, that's one of the things that you study when you study art history, is you begin to study the meanings of color. And then I went on to study the chakras and energy healing and the aura. And so there's so many multiple layers of meaning to color. So here's just some quick tips around your dreams, because this is something I could talk about more in another live. This is a pretty in-depth topic. But simply think, number one, when you think about your dreams, is how do you feel? If you're feeling in the dream like cautious, nervous, afraid, that's when you want to look inside at your own psychology or things that you're fearful of in your own life. Okay, that's why you would feel that feeling of caution or fear. It's mirroring back to your own inner psyche. What is going on with you or in your life? Okay, so pay attention to how you feel. Do you feel inspired? Do you feel encouraged, like really drawn to something in your dream? Those feelings are a message to you. Number two, who? Ask yourself who. Like I said, who is showing up in your dream? Are there animals in your dream? Are there certain colors? Some of the things I get on a regular basis are certain crystals. Are there like teachers or family members, friends, people you like, people you don't like, people you've even worked with in the past or currently work with? So think about who. Are you alone in the dream? Are there many other people with you? Three, ask yourself about your dreams. What's going on? Not only what does this mean, but like what's going on in the dream? So I'll tell you about a dream I had for many, many, many years. I didn't understand it. I wish I'd known this stuff then. I would have this recurring dream where it was almost like I was Alice in Wonderland, where I would be on this solo journey, be very arduous, have to overcome all these difficulties. And then I would go a lot of times, literally like Alice in Wonderland, I'd be like going underground. There'd be tunnels I'd have to go through, you know, underground passages and on and on and on. Well, once I understood the symbolism of that, I began to see this is showing me insight into my inner psyche, my soul's journey, things I need to look at, change, transform, and heal. And I need to do, and actually my own soul's gifts and purpose. But you know what? I had to go inside to find all of these things. I had to stop looking outside of me for the answers or for other people. I had to go and consult with my own intuition, my own guidance, my own heart and soul. I had to work on my own inner self. And I'll tell you this, it's not that I don't still have to do those things, I do. But those dreams, one day, I never had them again, and I've never had them since. And I attribute it to the fact that I finally got it. I had to go on an inner journey to really discover who I was in this world, what my gifts are, what my purpose is, and really tap into my own strength and empowerment. And it was all done through that inner journey. Okay, so that was just an example of a what. Nightmares. I don't really have nightmares very much anymore. It's extremely rare. But before I started on this path, I used to have a lot of nightmares. And once I understand symbology of dreams, I understood for me, those nightmares were showing me things I needed to heal, things I was afraid of. What was I afraid of in myself that I didn't want to bring out into the world? What was I afraid of saying yes to? Again, once I embarked on this inner journey, once I kind of went on what you might call a spiritual path, I rarely ever had nightmares anymore. I really still almost never have nightmares. You know, once in a while in a blue moon, but it's extremely rare. Because, again, kind of like that other dream, I had to go inward. I had to find my own willingness to face my fears, right? Okay, the last fourth thing about dreams is taking all of this into consideration. When you think about this, you've been recording it maybe night after night. Does this relate to my life? And I'm going to tell you, it really does. That's why we have these dreams. But does it relate to my life? And how is this dream maybe trying to help me? Now, sometimes it might take a few months to kind of go back, or maybe even longer than that, to go over your dream journal, and you'll begin to see those patterns. You'll begin to see the insights. I happened to do this a few weeks ago. I had kind of torn pages out of different dream journals I'd collected for many, many years. And I was stunned by the level of guidance I received, some of which was prophetic and was letting me know about things in the future in my own life, I had no clue about. But going back and reading it many years later, it was still really validating. So that's why I encourage you to pay attention to your dreams, because that's really a common way Spirit is guiding you and getting in touch with you, and your loved ones on the other side will very often come in dream visitations. Okay? Think of it like a soul-to-soul connection. In our daily life, we're so busy. Sometimes we're stressed, we're worried, we're going here, we're going there. It's not easy for Spirit, or it's not easy for us to recognize that Spirit is connecting with us. In our dreams, I like to think we're connecting with our soul, and we're connecting with our spirit. We're kind of going home, so to speak. And that is where Spirit, our loved ones on the other side, sometimes can more easily let us know that they're with us, that they're here with us, is through the dream state. Okay? Here's another tip I'm going to give you about understanding the signs and symbols in your life and the guidance that Spirit is trying to give you. So there's lots of different things that we may be thinking about. Songs, music, okay? That's definitely a sign I've gotten a lot over the years. You feel yourself drawn to a song or listening to a song over and over again, listen to those lyrics. What does that mean, and how does it relate to your life? Books. I get signs and symbols all the time from books. And let me tell you, I think it's a real common way for Spirit to get a message to us, to give us an aha, is through things that we read, whether it's through books or whether it's on the internet. I think books are a really common way. Here's another thing that I want to bring up to you. Notice people that you're especially drawn to, or notice someone doing something or saying something, even if you feel a little bit envious or jealous or, I wish I could do that. So, like I said, years before I understood all of this, I would sometimes notice like, gosh, I wish I could do that, but, you know, that's wishful thinking, until I realized that's a form of guidance. And maybe feeling envious isn't like the highest form of me, a feeling I could have. But once I realized what that feeling was, I thought, it's guidance. It means stop being envious, or stop being wishing I could do that. Start finding out how you can do that too. okay? So sometimes people were drawn to and admire or kind of envious of that spirit's way through our feelings of guiding us to, hey, this is part of your purpose. This is part of your path. And you're being drawn to this person or these people for a reason, okay? Another thing I wanted to mention is when you wonder, is this guidance, is this a sign, a symbol, is the universe trying to tell me something? So I'm looking down on my paper. So think about, does it have resonance? If it has resonance, I would say the answer is yes. Does it invoke wonder in you? Do you kind of go, wow, okay? Does it land with you in the center of your being like, this feels like truth for me? Okay, that's a big sign that you're getting guidance. Does it help you feel more balanced? Does it help you feel curious? Do you feel hopeful or inspired? Now, we can get those signs and symbols of caution or, warning, but we're not going to focus on, there's not a lot of times of like, you shouldn't be worried and looking around every corner and going, gosh, I don't want to step on a crack or, the black cat. It's not really so much that. You may sometimes get guidance that's like that, like maybe that's not the best decision, or maybe you need to kind of step away from that person. That definitely is guidance that we get. But there's also so much more kinds of guidance that's encouraging us, step on our path, embrace our guidance. Yes, this is your gift. Yes, this is your talent. Yes, you can do this. And I say that, hey there, Donna. Hey, Kelly. Oh gosh, that's such good news, Donna, that you're going through joy right now. That's an awesome sign that you're on your path, okay? Joy, feeling hopeful, inspired, joyful. Those are huge signs that you're following your guidance, that you're being guided, that you're on your path, okay? So as I wind up, here are my kind of tips for how do you encourage, right? How do you encourage not only receiving guidance, but becoming aware of the guidance? Because I've talked a little bit about trying to understand the guidance, but how do I become aware? How do I invite this guidance in? And number one, you can ask for guidance. I learned that early on by one of my teachers, and I didn't even know that. You can ask for guidance from your spirit team. And I actually regularly ask for guidance before I go to bed at night and ask for guidance to show up in my dreams. And what I've noticed over the years is a lot of times it shows up in my dreams. And if it doesn't show up in my dreams, I become observant because it'll show up in my daily life. So remember, you have free will, but your spirit team wants to help you. But you also have to remember, because you have free will, to ask for that guidance, ask for those messages, okay? Now here's the interesting part of it. Then we kind of want to let go of expectation. We want to let go of any stress or worry. We don't want to be looking in every nook and cranny and cupboard, and we don't want to be frantically looking for our sign. So number one, after you've asked for that guidance, it's important to relax. To relax and to trust, okay? Relax and trust. The guidance is coming. It will be there. You are being supported, okay? So relax. So like I said, the second tip is to allow. Allow that guidance to come in through trust, okay? When we're in the mind and we're searching, looking, it's not the best energy, because it's almost like we're in fear or concern or worry that we're not being guided, supported, and helped. So when we can relax and when we kind of allow, I like to think of it this kind of spacious openness in our heart, and we're not having an expectation, we're not like holding on to it needs to come now or this, right now. Just relax. It kind of frees our energy up. It raises our vibration. Then start noticing, like I said, in a relaxed way. Notice, and you'll begin to see, wow, there are signs and symbols if I apply kind of a different lens or perspective. So, give you another example, maybe this will help you. So this weekend I went to the beach with my family. And I was really struck by this small flock of birds, but there were two flock of birds that were just flying over the ocean. One first set was these really tiny birds, and then these other kind of medium-sized birds right behind them. And they were flying together, and I know birds fly together for that, you know, it helps them with that aerodynamics and flight and whatever. So they're flying up above the ocean like this. And then a fascinating thing happened. That first flock of birds kind of lifted higher and completely took off. And the second flight of birds did like this kind of gentle arc, came back, and then just beautifully, gently glided over the ocean, and then just like ever so gracefully landed right there in the water. And I thought, wow. So I've been thinking about, what does that mean for me? What it means for me is I've been worried, a little too stressed out, and those birds taught me, the message I took into me was, you know what? When you just flow, Spirit is there right ahead of you, guiding you and supporting you. And there's an ease and a grace when you relax, allow, and trust. And then the landing is, everything eventually will work out. So the last step in this process is to follow through with this guidance. So for me, I need to actually do that now. I need to follow through with the guidance, take a little more time off when I need to, stop stressing so much about some decisions I have to make, and trust that Spirit is guiding me, supporting me, and with me along the way. And that's the message I want to leave with you. You have guidance from the universe and from Spirit. I truly believe every day in your life. It's more a matter of us beginning to pay attention to it and knowing that it's around us. It's in the world that we live in. It's in our daily life. It doesn't need to be a bolt of lightning. It doesn't need to be an orb coming in our space. Those things are wonderful, but if we look for that, we're looking for a really long time. And I think the divine Spirit wants to connect with us in the way that, you know, a lot of more indigenous or native people will talk about. And I've been reading a lot of books on shamanism lately, and the Native Americans talking about how they understood the messages in nature and in their daily life. And so we don't have to go looking for the burning bush. We don't have to look for you know, the fireworks in the sky. The divine is within us. It's around us. Spirit is always here. And the messages and the guidance, I feel when we do those four things, when we relax, we allow, we notice, and then we follow through on that guidance, then it helps us ease into the flow, kind of like those birds I saw this weekend, and go, ooh, I don't have to work quite so hard. I don't need to get into overdrive of getting ahead of myself. I can just trust. Trust that Spirit is with me. Trust that I'm here, I'm loved, and I'm supported. So thank you for anyone that was watching today or that might watch this recording. I'll read your comments and comment, Donna, right after this recording. I send you so much love, lots and lots of blessings. If you ever want to get in touch with me through Facebook Messenger, or you can go to my website, you see my email. I do, you know, complimentary 20, 30-minute consultations for my coaching. If you're ever curious about a reading, don't hesitate. I'd be happy to talk with you. So much love until next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.